Hi everyone, this is our fifth episode in the hanging pawn structure, and today we are going to see another game in hanging pawn and how to break the b3 b4 idea against black's hanging pawn in c5 and d5. We are going to learn this thing in today's video. So let's focus on the board now. This game I have taken from 2009 Axel Beckman versus Max Cornejo, and in this position last move black has played queen to b6, white played e3, and now here black has played knight to d7. So we can see clearly that black is having an hanging pawn on c5 d5, and the thing we are going to discuss here is how this hanging pawn will be very much relative this pawn break with b4 b5, so we can break this pawn structure. E3 is a very standard move to stop this kind of d4 advance, and in this position white has played queen to f5. It is not only targeting the pawn, but the main idea is something else. The main idea is if we take this pawn, black will get some sort of counter play with, if you see, knight b4, knight d3 can come. So that is not our idea, but we really want to centralize the queen on f5, and it is always keeping an eye even whenever we will try to move the knight. So this bishop will always keep an eye on the d5 square. So now here black has played knight to a5. That is heading towards a wrong direction. That placing a knight is only giving more strength to white when white will come with b3 before break. Okay. Better move was that rook to e8, rook f2 e8. With the idea of is that whenever the queen will come to g4 to attack here, so that we can come with bishop to f6. Okay, so that was our main plan. Now if you look at it in this situation, mm, yeah, if you play queen into d5, then actually knight d5 will come, and then knight is coming to d3, and we really don't want to do this thing, because after rook b1 knight d4, and this black is suddenly getting active, very much active, that black sacrificed the pawn, and I believe this is already winning for black. The black is winning material on spot, that knight e2 is coming, knight b2 is coming, even queen is, I don't know where the queen will go, maybe it's getting trapped. So here after knight a5, white has played rook b1, knight to f6 came. Again, last move before was possible, but yes, it will make little bit complication. So white is slowly preparing and becoming overcautious before preparing for the b3 before break. So queen c2 again, and this is kind of move which you can easily understand. It is kind of overcautious move where bishop c8 black played, knight to h4, and at this moment black has played queen e6. And finally, now the moment has arrived and white has played b4. So white has decided to break with b3 b4, and this will turn this c5 d5 hanging pawn into a isolated weak pawn on d5, and the d4 square will be available for our knight. The knight can easily come here, even the knight can come here, and we all know that the knight is a strong blockader in front of an isolated pawn. So here knight b7 has been played, knight hf3, knight is coming towards the main destination on d4, knight e4, and if you accept the pawn structure broken, so definitely that's not going to be work. So here again, instead of knight e4, the better choice was obviously rook f8 again. Accepting, yes, obviously white is having a favorable version of isolated pawn, but still black is much more active here. Okay, so knight into knight e4 has been played, knight into e4, d into e4. Okay, black is saying, okay, I have uh, short this problem of a pawn on e4, right, rather than simply accepting the isolated pawn, but it is actually giving white a wonderful center control. Let's see, knight lands on e5, very strong knight on e5, c b4. Again, if you try to go with bishop f6, which doesn't work here because I'll simply take on e4 and the e4 pawn is weak. So even rook f8, simply I will take rook d8, knight d8 and f4. And I will strongly protect this knight on e5 and there is no way you will win back the pawn. So knight e5, c b4 played, a b4, rook into d1, rook into d1, f5, protecting the e4 pawn so that black will not lose the pawn immediately. And now the moment black has played f5, this becomes this diagonal very weak. So white brings the bishop back to 1 with the idea of bishop c4. And this is just now black's position is very much hopeless. His piece coordination is very poor and there are multiple weaknesses available on the board. So king h7, knight to c6, attacking the a7 pawn, attacking the b7 knight, bishop d6, knight a7, white won the pawn. So transforming the temporary advantage to a permanent one. Bishop to d7, queen c3, attacking, threatening checkmate here, queen to g6, stopping the checkmate. Again, if you play queen e7, then there is simply I play b5 and knight c6 will come. So queen g6, bishop to a6, attacking the knight. f4 has been played. Again, if you play rook to b8, that doesn't matter. Bishop d7, rook b7, and now rook into d6. And it's a simple tactics. We are simply deflecting the defender, which is the queen on g6, and there is a checkmate available. So black has played f4, and now black is actually losing the piece. The knight is completely out of the game. f4 and f4. At this moment, black actually resigned uh, because black's position is completely hopeless. Why black lose the game? Black pieces were not very well arranged. If you look at this position from the move number 17, where the white has developed the pieces properly, then it would have been better for black knight to put on placed on d6, d7 rather than c6. So black has missed that opportunity as well. And after the knight to a5, then this b3 b4 idea works very well and black could not resist it. So this is how white won the game. I hope you have learned something from this video. If you learned it, please comment it down below, and if you are new in my channel, kindly subscribe it. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.